Homeownership is important to me because it, I struggled with it.
Mm.
I'm not wealthy. I come from, working class. So I want to see single moms and,
There you go.
people getting out of college being able to do this.
My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is the Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. Hey, welcome back to the Closing Table. I'm your host. I go by the name of Kevin McIntosh, and we have the pleasure of speaking with top producing real estate agent today, Renee Crynick. How you doing, Renee?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm good. Thank you for being here, taking time out of your very busy schedule. We always appreciate that with our real estate agents. Hey, Renee, we're here to talk business, obviously, but I like to soften things up a little bit by playing a game. It's an icebreaker. This one is called Fill in the Blank. I have a few sentences related to real estate, and I need you to fill those in because I have a few blanks there. So just make them make sense with whatever context you feel is appropriate. Sounds good? You ready?
Perfect.
All right, let's do this. First one. I don't know why people think real estate is blank.
Easy.
Interesting. In 10 years, the real estate industry will be blank.
Still booming.
Okay, nice. Blank is the key to longevity as a realtor.
Relationships.
Expected. Okay. Last one. Blank makes clients feel more comfortable.
Communication and knowledge.
I would agree with that. I would agree. Well, thank you, Renee. We just wanted to play a couple immature games with you to start things off and just see where your head is, but we appreciate that. Now let's get to know Renee a little bit more. I want you to take this time in about 60 seconds or less, if you can. Why don't you tell us, who is Renee outside of real estate?
I am a solo mom with a blended family. I'm a widow warrior, and I'm a community advocate. And that's really it. Doesn't take 60 seconds.
Oh, wow. Straightforward. We love that. You know who you are. Gotta respect that. Gotta respect that. All right, cool. So currently, your current market, are you serving in the Metro Detroit area, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Primarily Tri-County.
Okay. Good. So with that being said, looking at everything that you've done through your social profiles and things like that, you have a crazy commitment to Detroit. And I love that, being from Detroit myself. How do you see the real estate industry playing a role in the revitalization of the city of Detroit?
Well, I actually was downtown yesterday with my dad. We went to the 6 Mile and Livernois area,
Okay.
and my son went to Barber College there and a few years ago, and I said, we should buy a house and you can live in it one room at a time and fix it up, and then we'll sell it for a lot. And he moved to California. But just as an example, houses that were $50,000 or $15,000 even a few
Oh,
years
yeah.
ago
Oh, my
are
goodness.
flipped and fixed and beautiful, and the neighborhoods are coming back, and
Mm-hmm.
the mayor and several groups have brought in, grant programs. There was a new park over there with a basketball court, and there's coffee shops and cheesecake and flowers, and you see people again, and that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So what steps are you taking to actually contribute to the revitalization of the city of Detroit, being a real estate agent?
Well, I was just at a meeting with GMAR and our elected officials to find out what projects are coming in and how they're handling affordable housing and senior housing.
Right.
I work with investors. I work with people in Brightmoor and other areas to help establish creditworthiness and get them on the path to homeownership, because we need more homeowners there. So I work with my lenders on down payment assistance programs and land bank projects, and just
Okay.
different ways to get them excited about it too.
Yeah. That sounds like you're doing the exact thing that I would expect, like being more informed about the programs, the incentives that they have to actually get people into these homes and actually fix the homes too, rehab
Right.
the
Yeah, you
homes,
can't live
actually.
there the way they are. But,
Right.
you know,
Exactly.
it's really, so an example is I had a girl who was renting in Ferndale, and she likes coved ceilings and fireplaces, but she wasn't approved for a lot of money. So we're looking in
Mm.
Westland and Garden City. And I said, what about Detroit? She's like, I don't know. So we went and looked at a house she saw on Zillow, and it was like mid flip, not finished. Somebody ran out of money, not as beautiful as the pictures.
Really?
And I said, now that Detroit is an option, let's go over here. Up and coming community. It happened to be Morningside. And we got there. And before we were even through with the showing, she was crying. That's where she wanted to live. That it had a big garden. It was not far off the freeway. It was a
Mm.
nice little tight knit community. And she lived there for several years and was very happy. So I just
Oh,
want
look
to get
at
people
that.
excited about it, being part of the community.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds good. As like I said, as someone who's from Detroit, also like that sound. I love to hear that because the misconceptions about the city of Detroit, it'll throw somebody who's never been there like for a loop. So for you to actually have those stories of you actually showing, even people from the surrounding series sometimes just have a bad association with the city of Detroit or at least living there. So
Right.
thank you as a real estate agent for literally kind of taking that misconception and just throwing that away. I really love that. Really do love that. Your bio highlights the fact that you grasp concepts and new techniques pretty fast and easily, right? So, being in real estate and with technology advancing the way it does, what new strategies or technology are you currently exploring that you can incorporate into your profession to help serve your clients?
So I think technology is important. I'm 53. I'm looking at all the things I do. Partner technologies like HomeBot, so my clients get monthly evaluations of their home's value and whether they could refinance or pull out equity to do projects. But I think what's even more important than all this AI talk is, again, the relationships and getting your hands dirty. And social media presence is important. I promote all the houses on websites and groups and
Mm-hmm.
chats. But I think that being belly to belly and still, talking to people is, more important. But the
I
technology has a place for the marketing, but not for
right.
the actual transaction.
Correct, correct. Not for the actual relationship building and things like that. Now, yeah, you can use it to, enhance and, streamline some of your processes. But
Right.
I have to talk with realtors often about technology and, Zillow versus the realtor or, the real estate agent versus the internet and things of that nature. But the internet can't replace those relationships. The internet can't build that rapport and that trust like a real estate agent can, who, like you said, will be belly to belly in the transaction. So we love that.
I've only been in the business 7 years, and I've had
Mm,
4 repeat clients that
really?
bought
Wow.
from me and either sold that property to buy another one
Right.
or, yeah, came back to me. Yeah, that's important because they trusted me and they still trust me.
Yeah. And imagine imagine going on a website to purchase a home, to go through the entire transaction online, and then you come across an issue and you try to like contact customer service or something. And it's like we all know customer service is probably the worst thing to experience nowadays with these big corporations. So if you could just talk to a person directly, why not just make that shortcut? That's just another perspective I had to bring to the table with that being said.
Well, and because
I
I'm a
want to
solo
go ahead,
sorry.
please. No, please.
Because I'm a solo agent, it's not my team. I mean, I do have people who can back me up if I'm double booked and I need to show you a house because the market's fast, so I don't want you to miss
Mm,
out. But during the transaction, you are talking to me. You're calling me when you're scared, you're calling me when you're unhappy, you're calling me when you're very happy, and it's always me. So
mm-hmm.
that makes a difference too.
Mm-hmm. Many
Yeah.
hats. I like to say, real estate agents. Where you recently spoke at, or I believe you at least sponsored this event. I gotta ask you about this: protecting your assets. The way I said that,
Yes.
I did that on purpose.
Yes.
So, what were some of the key points made during this event? There's a few things there that I definitely want to talk about, but overall, what were some of the points?
So I think the aha moment for people in the room was, everybody says we know taxes and death are for sure. We just don't know when death is going to happen.
Right.
So we want to help people be prepared. And again, I'm a real life case study because 7.5 years ago, my husband passed away. He was
Sorry about
47.
your loss.
Thank you. But his life insurance application was signed and filled out on my desk, and he had a heart attack. So we weren't prepared.
Oh
And
my
so I don't want that for anybody else.
God. Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so protecting your assets is about end of life planning, but it's also about new families. You have a house, you don't want that to go to probate. When your child goes to college and gets in, God forbid, a car accident, you need medical permissions to talk to the doctors because they're adults now. So power of
Right.
attorney is important. Trusts are important. Insurance, obviously. Just making sure that the things you worked so hard for and the people you love are protected.
There it is. There it is. Oh man, that makes a very good point. That's one of those things where a lot of people may not necessarily be comfortable with talking about all the way, but it's a conversation that needs to be had 100%. Also, in that event, I see a few talking points that you made, or that were made, I should say, types of deeds. Could you give us a little bit of information regarding the different types of deeds? Maybe someone listening thought it was just called a deed, and a deed is just the paperwork to the home. What are we talking about when we're saying different types?
Well, so sometimes people will do a quick claim deed to transfer ownership of the house.
Hmm.
So the problem with that is if there are tax liens or mechanical liens or blight on the bill, the new owner gets taxed with that.
Oh
Where
wow.
when you transfer a warranty deed through a real estate transaction, and I'm not even saying the sale, just a transfer of ownership,
Hmm.
we check for those bills. We check to make sure the person transferring the ownership has the authority to do that.
Right.
Um, there's also a ladybird deed, which says when I pass, the house will go to someone else. What
Hmm.
if that gets lost? What if it doesn't get filed? There's
Mm.
deeds provide ownership and some security, but a warranty deed is the best because it says all of your ducks are in a row. We've checked this owner and even the owner prior. If there's a break in the chain link somewhere, you're going to have a problem. So quick claim deeds and ladybird deeds are not my favorite. Warranty deed provides the most security for you.
Oh wow. Yeah, you just educated us here. I've heard of quick claim deeds before, me working in the mortgage industry. I think I may have heard of Ladybird. You said Ladybird, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Ladybird deeds, I think I may have, but warranty deeds I'm familiar with too. But I didn't know, what they were all for necessarily. Quit claim pretty much sounds exactly what it is. There, you're
Down and
quitting,
dirty.
you're claiming, correct? But the rest of them and their purposes, that 100% makes sense. So let me ask you about this Ladybird deed or something like that, right? A power of attorney, when that gets involved in a transaction, I guess I'm gonna need help with the question a little bit, but I'm trying to figure out, where does the power of attorney come into play, and is it only, it's not only if a person, no, it's not a person, if a person is incapable of making a certain decision, they would
Right.
have a power of attorney to make those decisions for them. What
Right.
type of situations have you been in where a power of attorney has been involved to make a certain decision? Guess
It,
we'll start there.
it could be if the person's incapacitated, let's say a case of dementia or things of that nature. It can be as simple as somebody being out of town. So I
Oh,
was
okay.
I was closing on a house and the date got bumped because of circumstances. There's always hiccups in the road. But instead of these people rescheduling their trip, we gave power of attorney to her sister and reviewed the
Mm.
documents before she went away to make sure everything was, tight and right. And then we had her sister do all the signing.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. There it is. You pretty much just answered it and laid it out right there. That's exactly what a power of attorney would do. So you don't have to use it if in those extreme cases, if you have something going on and you just need someone else to represent you, that's where a power of attorney. And it obviously doesn't have to be an attorney. It could be a family member.
Right. Right.
There we
You're
go.
just and you're just giving them in that case, you're just giving them permission for that one document. They don't have power of attorney over your bank accounts and all
Right,
your
right,
stuff. It's
right.
just signing this one document.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you for that knowledge. Wills and trusts. Now, this I need to understand. Wills and trusts. First and foremost, I want to know the difference between the two, but I also want to know, how do these come into play, and what are the differences in what they do, especially compared to like a ladybird deed or something like that, right? So I'm thinking, like, when you have a will, you say, when I pass away, I want this person to have that. But what if maybe there's a ladybird deed and maybe that says something conflicting to that? Or can you give us a little bit more insight into these three things and the differences?
Right. So a will is essentially conveying your wishes. I
Hmm.
want my brooch to go to my daughter. I want this to go to so and so. I want the house to go to the kids divided equally.
Okay.
That's still going to probate
Mm.
because
Really?
it's what you want, but it's not properly formatted. So you have to put it inside of a trust. And a,
Mm.
and a trust will then protect the house from probate. It's again still your wishes, but you're putting a person or persons in charge
Right.
of how to disperse things, and you don't have to go to probate to do that. And they're not expensive. I mean, the costs, depending on how many assets you're protecting, are very similar. But a lot
Right.
of people just think a will is all they need. And a trust is called a living trust. So it can be changed, it can be altered.
Right. Right. Mm. Wow, you are really giving us some game today because I had no idea about the difference between the two. I mean, obviously there is a difference, but I'm thinking, if, as long as you have a will, you're good. People know where things are going, but you're saying that's not even given the specifics necessarily. You would have to really go into like a trust or something to help with that.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it can still go where you want, but it's got to go through the probate
the
court,
probate
and you're
court,
going to
yeah.
lose some money.
Man. Oh man, thank you for man. That was probably like one of the most key things that somebody mentioned on the closing table. Thank you for that. Now I have a greater understanding. I don't know how this ties into it. Maybe you could speak about this briefly. I did see that you recently got your resort and second home property specialist certification. Just talk about this. The why is this necessary? How does this enhance your career, and what place does this hold in your profession?
So we spoke a lot before we got on the podcast about I have a lot of certifications. My dad says I could be the doctor of real estate. So
I love
this this was one I didn't have, and I think in the world of Airbnbs and short-term rentals,
it. Mm,
and with the revitalization of Detroit, because we do have a lot of investors, it was important. So I had a client last year that spent about a year looking for a lakefront primary residence.
okay.
And we weren't finding it, and we found a really incredible home in South Haven,
Oh
and they
yeah.
bought it as not their primary. Maybe they'll retire there someday, but right now we're
Hmm.
Airbnb-ing it, and we still found them a lakefront. Just after that, we found them a beautiful house in Groseal. So
Nice.
um, just being able to help them navigate, the VRBO or Airbnb, or how many parking spaces does your short-term rental get? And is there a
Right.
limit to how many what's short term? Is it a few days? Is it 3 months? Because different municipalities have different rules. So
Sure.
I can't really help my clients if I don't understand all of those things.
That's a great point. Let me tell you, the fact that you even mentioned South Haven, that's where my family, my dad's side of the family is. So I go out there very often. I love South Haven in the summer, but in the winter, it is depressing. But those homes, my dad owns property out there. When I say I was with him buying and selling some, when I say the price of those homes, I'm like, I, I mean, I've been in South Haven a long time and I've seen homes go from like not nothing, but like substantially increase in their purchase price. I'm like, goodness, that is crazy. But yeah,
Not just
South
not
Haven is
just
one of
the
those
purchase,
markets.
not just the purchase price, the daily or nightly rental rates,
Oh, for sure. For sure. Oh my god.
crazy.
I know they're getting a great investment with that Airbnb out there. Great job, by the way. Great job. Let's talk about your strategies to selling. Can you share a story about a time when a client's home struggled to sell due to their personal items and clutter?
Yes.
Oh,
So everybody's got one. Based on the comps, they'd lived in it a long time. They had a lot of children's, school projects and stuff. And they were moving to a furnished place in Florida,
hmm.
and they were not taking a lot of this with them. And try as they might, they were cleaning and cleaning. It just was a lot. So we started at one price. We started weeding through things. We ended up selling to an investor, but
Mm.
I had to order the dump. They were leaving in a U-Haul, and I was there with the dumpsters and organizing the pickup. of things in the yard and in the house as they were
In
driving
the
before I got.
yard. Oh man.
I have a
You
video.
went above and beyond for that. You stayed there and did that?
Yeah, I've painted basements. I've helped clean houses. My tagline is real estate in real life. I'm not a Lexus driving, Rolex wearing realtor, and even when I can afford to be, I'm not gonna be
Ooh, I
because
love it.
I've been homeownership is important to me because it, I struggled with it.
Mm,
I'm not wealthy. I come from, working class. So I want to see single moms and,
there you go.
people getting out of college being able to do this.
Hmm.
So
I
I'll do what it
love that. And I'm glad you said that too, because anybody that's watching, any of our audience watching, listening right now, home buyers or sellers, this lets you know this. She is grounded. She's grounded and very. I hate to say humble sometimes, but yeah, I mean, it just shows like you're leveling with people who don't have any of that experience also. So I love that you just shared that. What are some of the creative ways that you've seen sellers enhance their homes entryways more than anything to kind of make a potential buyer interested?
So Windows still has got a great pre photography like checklist.
Really?
So I make them take. I'm like a Nazi. Like I make them take out their screens, and they're like, "Why?" I'm like, "Cause it photographs better." But
Ah,
we do a lot with curb appeal because
right,
if I
right.
drive by and it's not even welcoming, a lot of people don't have the vision. So
Mm,
just something as simple as painting your front door, some potted flowers or a wreath, take out the shrubs or trim the shrubs, just make it feel homey.
yeah, yeah. Get the shoes out of the entryway right
Oh, for
there.
sure. And it
Get
can't
the dog
smell.
toys.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't
Get
smoke
that
in
out
your
of there.
house if you're selling it.
All great points. All great points. Well, yeah, we appreciate you. Thank you for coming by the closing table, Renee, and getting us a lot of great information that we can learn and take with us. Before we get out of here, if there's any last words and or you want to tell the people how to reach out to you, please do so now.
All right. I am Renee Crynick, Real Estate in Real Life. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. My phone number is 313-310-1331. And I am just here to help. And it can be as simple as contractors and that kind of information. I don't have to buy or sell, but I will, of course. But I want to help you and I want to help the community.
There it is. There it is. Thank you so much, Renee, for being here with us and giving us a lot of great information that we can work with. For our YouTube audience watching right now, if you've gotten this far in the video, I need you to do us a favor and hit the like button for us. Please and thank you. Also, make sure you share and subscribe to our channel. And for our people listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platforms, please do the same. Give us a like, 5-star rating, and subscribe for our latest content. And Renee, I'd like to leave our audience with a question before we get out of here. Here's a unique question for our audience right here. How important do you believe sustainability and energy efficiency is in real estate? Think about it for a minute and then drop your comments below. Besides that, we'll talk to you later.